We're at the Cradle of Aviation Museum in our Arcade Age exhibit, and the story we try to tell here is the story of the amazing engineers that came up with the ideas that advanced the technology. We do that through exhibitry and through gameplay and through even a machine where we've cut the sides out and we've replaced it with plexiglass. So you can look inside and see how these things really work. One of the features in our exhibit talks about Willie Higginbotham, who in 1958 developed a game out at Brookhaven National Laboratories. Now these guys, they were trying to put together something for visitors on visiting day, and he actually took an oscilloscope and created a game called Tennis for Two, which somewhat predates Pong and all the tennis games from the 70s. This is the first coin-operated, commercially available arcade video game. Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney created it for a little company called Nutting Associates. Kids on college campuses loved it. It was a little bit like the current Asteroids. It had 4 buttons, so it wasn't a huge commercial success. But Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney then went on to found Atari, and in '72 came out with Pong, and that is what ignited the arcade revolution. When Atari was going like gangbusters in the early '70s, Nolan Bushnell assigned a young engineer named Steve Jobs to develop a game called Breakout. Steve Jobs enlisted his friend Steve Wozniak, and together they developed this game Breakout. Jobs and Wozniak took lessons learned from developing that game to go on to form a little company called Apple. Well, we tried to get all the most important and iconic games, and we were very lucky to get this Computer Space. We have Space Invaders, which came out in '78 and really was the first blockbuster hit. Certainly we have a Pac-Man, which was probably the most popular game of all time and brought women and children into the arcades. We have, of course, Donkey Kong, which introduced Mario, and we know what became of him. In our arcade, we're pretty old school. We have 80s music piped in. For the little kids, we hand you a milk crate and say, go to town.
Okay.
Come on, make the moms proud. I'm really kicking butt on this one.
This is me in the meadow, though.
We do have kids with us.
Oh, the most excited visitors are people in their 40s and 50s who grew up with this. I mean, I was in 7th grade in 1978 when Space Invaders hit. Life has never been the same.
Something like this where there's so much experience, I think the parents will educate everybody on their own, because we lived it. This was our era, you rode your bike to Nathan's and you played video games, and it started getting dark and you rode your bike home. So there's no one better to teach them than the ones that lived it. And my son asked me when did the tickets come out, and I'm like, there's no tickets that come out of the games. At the pool hall, I played Street Fighter. Quarters went in. Oh, I'm waiting for them to get their fill, and then it's my turn.
How do you stop this?
Yeah, that's my brother, and then I don't know where the other one is. I think he's playing the Star Wars game. I love just old things in general. I watch Gem and the Holograms and Rainbow Bright, He-Man and She-Ra. I just love all of it. Well, I wanted to play Pac-Man first, but everyone wants to play Pac-Man. So I went to Street Fighter, and this is my first time playing Street Fighter, and I kicked my mom's butt.
What was the first game you ran to?
Miss Pac-Man. I am, what do I always say?
You're the Miss Pac-Man World Champion.
Miss Pac-Man World Champion. One of my old favorites. They're probably new. Have you guys ever heard of Dig Dug before today?
Yes.
Oh, all right. See? I guess they do know a little more than I thought.
We started here in this first section. We went to Pac-Man, we did Space Invaders. The line is kind of big for all the video games inside, so we're just gonna have to wait patiently and enjoy it like the rest of everybody. I'm beating him in every game that we're playing.
No, I beat you in 2
Oh
games.
no, I beat you in every game. Come on, don't lie to the world.
The gameplay in these machines is timeless. So even though graphics and computing power has exponentially expanded, solid gameplay is solid gameplay, and a lot of these games stand up today.